Matt Patricia has had a horrible start to his head coaching career. I'm fully aware that that's not exactly breaking news. But the question here is, can he turn it around? And as you can tell by the thumbnail, I believe Matt Patricia can still be good. As of right now, I'm just going to say the facts. Matt Patricia is a completely trash head coach. I'm not saying he can't get out of being trash. I'm just saying at this immediate moment, he is pretty much a bottom of the barrel NFL head coach. When it comes to Matt Patricia, there's the side that says, look how fast so-and-so turned it around. And there's also the side that says, look how horrible Bill Belichick started. So what I did was I pulled up coaches that started hot and cooled off as their careers went on. I pulled up coaches that started slow and would eventually pull it together. And I also pulled up Hall of Fame coaches that started even worse than Patricia has. The first group of coaches I want to talk about are the coaches that started hot and fell off, because a lot of people like to point out how Sean McVay turns the Rams around so fast, and how Matt LaFleur or Matt Nagy turned their respective teams around as fast as they did. Just because they turned it around in one season doesn't mean it's sustainable. You don't always know how good a coach is based on how fast they turn things around. And you don't always know how bad a coach is if they take a little longer to turn things around. But anyways, Steve Mariucci in his first 2 seasons as a head coach was 25-7. And then in his last 7 seasons as a head coach, he was just 47-60. Chip Kelly started his head coaching career with a 20-12 record, and the Eagles were only 4-12 prior to Chip Kelly taking over. But as we know, he got fired by the Eagles, and he finished his coaching career 8-23 for his last 2 seasons. Mike Smith of the Atlanta Falcons, he took them to the NFC Championship game. But after that NFC Championship appearance, he only went 10-22 for the last 2 seasons that he was a head coach. It's also worth noting that the Falcons were 4-12 prior to Smith taking over, and he turns them into a playoff team in 1 season. But ever since being fired by the Falcons, he is yet to get a head coaching job. Now, every Lions fan's favorite coach, Jim Caldwell, he started super good, 24-8, and he even took the Colts to the Super Bowl. But after his first 2 seasons as a head coach, he did not have an overall winning record. A big part of that is because he went 2-14 when Peyton Manning missed the whole season. That's kind of irrelevant to me right here. He started hot, and he did not finish nearly as hot. Then Rex Ryan, he went 20-12 in his first 2 seasons and took the Jets to 2 straight AFC Championship games. He had 0 winning seasons after he took the Jets to 2 straight AFC Championship games. Ken Whisenhunt was 27-21 his first 3 seasons and took the Cardinals to the Super Bowl. The Cardinals were 5-11 prior to Whisenhunt becoming head coach. And Whisenhunt, after his first 3 seasons, never finished with a winning record again. And he was fired by the Titans mid-season in his last season as a head coach. Then Chuck Pagano, he was 33-15 in his first 3 seasons and helped get the Colts to the AFC Championship game. He had 0 winning seasons after taking the Colts to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And it's also worth noting that he took over a 2-14 team, and he's yet to become a head coach since being fired. So what was the purpose of this section? Sometimes you have to really think, how much are they really turning it around? Chuck Pagano took the Colts to the playoffs 3 years in a row, and he is yet to become a head coach. So how much did he really turn it around? And let's just take coaches right now. How much did Sean McVay really turn the Rams around? In all honesty, it's kind of wait and see right now, because as we're seeing with these examples, having a fast start doesn't mean a great end. And with other current coaches, how much has Matt LaFleur really turned the Packers around? Can he sustain that turnaround? So I guess my overall point is that using coaches that turned things around in 1 year is not entirely fair to Matt Patricia, because while some of these turnarounds are real, there are plenty of others that are fraudulent. The next group of coaches I want to go over are coaches that started pretty slow, but they eventually figured it out. The purpose of this section, I guess, is to show that it's not entirely hopeless for Patricia. But when you see the next section, you will especially see that it's definitely not hopeless for Patricia to turn things around. Andy Reid, in his first season, went 5-11, and now he's a Super Bowl winning head coach, and he has been 202, 117, and 1 since his 5-11 start. And Chuck Fairbanks was 15-27 his first 3 seasons. Not good. And then he went 31-12 in his last 3 seasons and helped turn the Patriots around. Bill Parcells was 3-12-1 in his first season, and he had 13 winning seasons after that 3-12-1 start. The Lions' very own Joe Schmidt, he had a relatively rough start to his head coaching career. He didn't coach for long, but he was a pretty good coach, at least based on the record. He was 9-15-4 during his first 2 seasons, and then Joe Schmidt was able to lead the Lions to 4 straight winning seasons after that 9-15-4 start, as a head coach, not as a player, as a head coach. Then Tony Dungy was 6-10 in his first season, and then after that 6-10 start, he never finished below 500 ever again. So I guess the overall point of this section is to show that coaches develop at different rates. Some develop quickly, and some develop not so quickly. The learning curve is different for everybody, and it's different for every coach. Now, this is the section that I want to talk about the most because, believe it or not, there are head coaches that are in the Hall of Fame that started even worse than Patricia has started. Matt Patricia currently holds a 9-22-1 record, which is good for a winning percentage of 29.7%. Chuck Noll was 12-30 in his first 3 seasons. And then he went on to go 181, 118, and 1. And he was a 4-time Super Bowl champion as a head coach. Tom Landry, in his first 2 seasons, was 4-20-2, which was good for a winning percentage of 19.2%. And then he went 246, 142, and 4 after that. And his first winning season wasn't even until his 7th year as a coach. Jimmy Johnson helped lead the Cowboys to 2 Super Bowl wins, but he started 8-24, which is good for a winning percentage of 25%. He went 72-40 after that 8-24 start, and his first winning season came in his 3rd season. Bill Walsh started his head coaching career 8-24, just like Jimmy Johnson did. And then he went 84-35 after that. His first winning season came in his 3rd year. Now, I don't want to be overly misleading here because Tom Landry, when he started his head coaching career, was coaching the first year Dallas Cowboys. When Chuck Noll started his head coaching career, he came to a 2-11-1 team. Jimmy Johnson came to a 3-13 team. And Bill Walsh came to a 2-14 team. While Matt Patricia came to a 9-7 team. But my overall point on this is that coaches develop at different rates. And just because one coach turned it around in 1 year doesn't necessarily mean he's good. He could end up being a 1-year wonder or 2-year wonder. And there's coaches that start off slow and then they figure it out and go on to win the Super Bowl, like these 4 coaches on this section. The learning curve is different for every coach. Where is Matt Patricia right now? Can he be a Chuck Noll or can he be a Jimmy Johnson? Yeah, he can. Will he? I don't know, but he most certainly can be. And also, I should be honest, with Chuck Noll and Tom Landry, am I patient enough to wait for 4 or 7 years to see progress? That's a tough one. However, I am more than willing to see how Matt Patricia does in his 3rd season, now that I believe he's got all his guys. So I guess my overall point here is that the learning curve for head coaches is different for all of them. There's coaches that start hot and then get exposed. There's coaches that start good and stay good. There's coaches that start bad and they stay bad. And there's coaches that start bad and then they figure it out. Where will Matt Patricia fall under those categories? Is he going to be a coach that starts slow and figures it out? I certainly hope so. Well, that will be all for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope I gave some of you at least a little bit of hope that Matt Patricia can turn it around.